Hello again, everyone, and welcome to the OSU Roundup. I'm Casey Kendrick, and first off is how we want to start the show with a congratulations to the Oklahoma State Cowgirl women's golf team winning the Big 12 championships down in the Woodlands in Texas. Greg Robertson's team had a great weekend, and they hoist another Big 12 trophy. Congratulations also in order for our next guest, which is Colin Carmichael, the head coach of the Cowgirl women's soccer team. And Coach, good to have you here, and congratulations on heading back to the NCAA Tournament.
I appreciate it. Just trying to keep up with all these other awesome sports teams this spring, so we're happy to be part of it.
You know, we've talked so much about COVID. We kind of have moved past it and haven't talked about it nearly as much. But, Coach, just navigating a season and getting through it in general has been a heck of an accomplishment. And for you guys to now be one of the top 48 teams, to be a national seed, to be a 10 seed, I mean, it's been a really good year.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, this is kind of the reward for all of the work and sacrifices that our team and staff have put in. It's been very challenging at times, but, you know, win, lose, or tie, we've talked to our team all season about how proud we are. You know, we've been ready to play every single game. We haven't missed a practice because of COVID, so that's quite an accomplishment throughout the year. So yeah, the kids deserve all the credit, and this is their reward, and you know, we're going to go enjoy it.
You guys finished the regular season with a win over Notre Dame, and you know, Coach, going down the stretch with the only 48 teams. Last time we talked to you, we weren't quite sure where you guys stood. Still concerned again because of a shortened field, but as it turns out, you guys were in really good standing.
Yeah, I probably had nothing to worry about, but we were all on edge a little bit. You know, you're never sure until you see your name. You know, but to get that number 10 overall national seed was pretty impressive, and like I said, we got a lot of respect nationally from the committee. The Big 12 did great. We had the 4, 5, and 10 seed, which is amazing. So we got 3 top 10 teams. So yeah, it was, again, just an acknowledgement of how well our kids have played, not only in the spring, but last fall. And it's thoroughly deserved. I think they've earned it.
So now, Coach, you know that you will play the winner of Colorado, South Alabama. So you get a first-round bye. That's obviously a good thing as well. But it is odd. The part that I found most odd in that announcement is in a to be determined location. I mean, I know you're in the general vicinity, but you don't even know exactly where you're going to be.
We found out yesterday. They did have a meeting, and they've let us know. So we're playing in Greensboro at the Bryan Soccer Complex. So it's a youth soccer complex, but there's a little stadium kind of within it, like their showcase stadium. We're not sure exactly how big it is or what the surface is, but at least we know a location. So we'll be based out of Greensboro, certainly for the first round or second round, our first match. And we'll play at the Bryan Soccer Complex. I think it's on the 30th at 7 p.m. local time.
So tell me a little bit about just this bubble and how similar is it to what we saw with the men's and women's NCAA basketball tournaments?
Yeah, we got a lot of good information yesterday finally, and it's going to be a little bit more relaxed than what basketball was. You know, it'll be 2 to a room in some rooms. I think basketball was just everybody had your own room. We'll be able to leave the hotel for team activities. You know, we won't be going to restaurants. We won't be going to shopping malls or anything like that. But we can go for a walk. We can go for a little walk through practices and just get our kids out a little bit more. So, you know, we'll still be expected to follow all the guidance, and it'll look a little bit like what we've done all season, to be honest. You know, we won't have meals where 6 kids are around a table. In case somebody does get dinged positive, you know, you try to protect the group. So we were happy about that because we were a little bit worried that maybe we would go back into this severe bubble, but it doesn't seem to be the case.
Well, and you talk about what you've done all year long. Well, what you've done all year long in this year is kind of what you guys just do. 6 of the last 8 you've been in the NCAA, 12 of the last 15. This has become a very common occurrence. It
is, and you know, we talked to our team. This is kind of a starting point for us. We don't want it every year for this to be the pinnacle of our season, just making the NCAAs. We want to make a run. And that's something that has been missing for the last few years. We're getting into the tournament. Generally, we're advancing to the second round, but we haven't made a deep run since 2011. And so we challenged our team that this is an opportunity for us. You know, it'll be tough competition, but we have an opportunity to make a deep run here, and we have a team that can do it. So that's kind of the message we sent our team. Enjoy Selection Show. It's a cool deal. It's exciting, but this, you know, you haven't arrived. This isn't it. We got a lot to play for.
A couple of Elite Eights in your history, 2010 and 2011 there. Finally, Coach, I'm not going to ask for a scouting report. Obviously, you don't know which, but I'm just curious, how familiar are you with Colorado and with South Alabama?
Well, South Alabama's my alma mater, but it's a long time, so I haven't been back for a while. But it would be really neat for me personally to play those guys. But we don't know that much about their team. We're scouting them as we speak, obviously, and we'll get more info. Colorado, we played them, I want to say 2015 or so in the NCAA Tournament up in Boulder. And they beat us, they knocked us out, but it was a close game. And so if we play Colorado, it's going to be very similar to a Big 12 matchup. They're just it's like playing Kansas or Texas or Tech or somebody. It's just a good matchup. And if we play South Alabama, we'll have to do a little more digging. But both teams will be a challenge, and it's the NCAA Tournament. Anything can happen.
I said last thing, but let me add one more thing. In the NCAA men's and women's basketball tournament, there was no in-person scouting. Yeah. Are you going to be able to go to the game?
There's no in-person scouting in rounds 1 and 2 because I think since we're traveling up later, it would have been a little unfair if like Duke and Carolina could scout and we couldn't. Right. So I think they said round 1 and 2, no scouting. But I think once you get to the Sweet 16, we're all playing at the same complex. So if we advance, I think they would allow you to go watch your opposition play. But that's to be determined. And they also mentioned COVID as part of that. There's a very limited attendance. And so they probably don't want coaches mingling in with the crowd and then going back to their team. So we'll see what happens. But the first game, no, we'll just watch it on live stream.
Certainly makes a lot of sense. Coach, congratulations. That's the important thing. You're there. Best of luck against whoever you end up facing off against.
Thanks, Casey. Appreciate it.
Good stuff. Let's take a break. When we come back, the Cowboy baseball team had a tough weekend, but their midweek's going well. We'll talk to Josh Holliday coming up after the break.
For all the ways you love to play, Academy Sports and Outdoors makes it easier than ever to get what you need and have fun out there. Get free shipping on your favorite brands at academy.com or get free curbside or in-store pickup at your Academy store.
This one is intercepted.
That's not a towel.
There was a mess. I wiped up a mess.
Yeah, you...
When game day is a go, there's a Bud Light there.
Welcome back to the OSU Roundup. Casey Kendrick now joined by Josh Holliday, the head coach of the Oklahoma State Cowboy baseball team. Coach, pleasure to have you with us as always. And Fort Worth, you knew was going to be a tough place. It's a really good baseball team, obviously. And you guys were on the cusp, but couldn't quite get over the hump.
Yeah, definitely frustrating to play 3 good ball games and not find a way to capitalize and win 1 or 2 of them, win the series, let alone get swept. That's tough. Doesn't happen often, but when it does, you feel it. It's a tough thing to handle when you compete fiercely over 3 days and you got 2 teams and really good athletes, good baseball players on both sides. We created some of our own momentum, and at times we gave them some, and you can't do that to a team as good as TCU because I think they're one of the probably the top 5 teams in the country when you look at their pitching depth and their experience in the lineup. Plus, I think they play with a tremendous amount of confidence when they're at home. And all those things added together, ended up going the wrong direction for us, not once, not twice, but all 3 times. So disappointed in those results. Definitely some good things in terms of our play. Elements of our play, that is, but you got to put together a complete game, and you got to be able to play equal parts on the offensive side, defensive side, and pitch it. And we just seem to be a little bit short each day in one area, and ultimately it cost us.
Coach, when you look at a series like that, and I think of a matchup, I think 9 times out of 10 there's going to be a 2-1 split, one way or the other. But when you do get swept, or when you guys have in turn swept other teams, what you have to realize, I guess, is the message that has to be out there is each game is its own game. The series can't be taken as a whole just because we won 2 or lost 2. That 3rd game average doesn't mean, automatically you get the win or the loss. That 3rd game, just like the second, each game has to be taken individually. And in each of those games, as you mentioned, there was just one little thing here or there that kind of turned the whole game around.
Well, that's very accurate. I think the maturity of your mindset is what allows you to separate the games from the series and play them one by one and not get caught up in the momentum of having won or lost game one, and then how that shifts into game two. And then ultimately, as you mentioned, if you are up 2-0 or down 0-2 going into game three, letting that sway your satisfaction with a series victory or create pressure because you haven't won. I thought we did a good job of handling that, in all honesty. I thought we played Sunday very much in the moment and very much that game individually versus trying to make up for lost time. We didn't play with any type of tightness or a lack of aggression. We just didn't finish the game. And that sometimes is, you have to be able to just look at it for what it is. You also sometimes have to look at your opponent and recognize they deserve credit when you make a mistake and they capitalize. That's a compliment to their ability as well. So you've got to be complete when you play elite competition, especially in the Big 12, because at the top of our league there's some very high-level baseball being played, and that involves playing every single pitch, not just a vast majority of them the right way.
Obviously, again, tough one on Friday and Saturday with one loss, and then you had the lead late in the third game. But, Coach, the other thing is, you got game two, Justin Campbell got 6 innings out. It's a pretty good outing for him. You had 18 hits in the first game. And so, again, if you take the emotion out of the game from a fan standpoint and you watch the 3 games, those were 3 really good games. That was good baseball.
Yeah, no doubt. I think, it is impossible, as you mentioned, to take the emotion out of what a fan would feel, or for that matter, what a competitor would feel, because you're so driven to win and you're so wired to react to the final score. But if you go back and break the games down, there were some process things that we did well. We did get some good pitching at times. We got some really good swings at times. But we've got to put that whole thing together. There's that we use the word gel or peak during the competitive season every year. You see that across multiple sports. Our team just hasn't quite peaked yet, where we put all elements of our game together, and I think when we do, we'll be very good. So we got to keep striving to get totally in sync, that harmony that goes on when everything really starts to come together, and I'd much rather find that rhythm and harmony as we approach the home stretch of the season.
Arkansas Pine Bluff, Coach, midweek game. If you want to work some things out. Obviously, you want to get back on the field. You're able to do that with Arkansas Pine Bluff, and I'd say you worked some things out with a 28-0 win.
Yeah, I mean, the kids went out and took care of business. CJ threw the ball really good. That was a great thing to see him back out there and get a 5-inning start out of CJ Varela. And then we were very good on offense. Guys took their walks. When they got a pitch to hit, they hit it. You got to execute the game. We did that very well on Tuesday night. And
then that sets up a really good series coming up, an important series. They're all important, but you bring Texas in here, and it's going to be one of the, certainly in the conference part of the season, the best that we've seen so far at O'Brate.
Yeah, I think University of Texas in this particular year really playing well. They seem to be in a good rhythm as a team. Their record is strong. Their national ranking is strong. So I think people recognize right now what we've known for a long, long time in the University of Texas, year in, year out. Gifted roster full of talented players. Are well coached. And like you mentioned, they're one of the top teams in our league, and definitely a series that every single year when you get the conference schedule, you always circle that one, because University of Texas is one of those weekend series where you got to play well. Our kids will be ready for it, and I'm sure they will be too.
It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a great weekend in O'Brate. Best of luck, Coach.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Hey, let's take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about softball. Kenny Gajewski joins us. The Cowgirls swept Baylor last weekend. We'll talk about that and more right after this.
Living with joint pain. Take the first step at mercy.net/cowboysortho.
There are a great many things that can be found on the road. The giant blue whale in central Oklahoma. Musicians in search of that perfect melody. You'll even discover the center of the universe. You'll find stories of lives led, challenges met, and men who raise pigeons. They're all out there waiting to be discovered. All you have to do is follow the road. Phillips 66. Live to the full.
Welcome back once again. Let's change sports. Let's move to softball, where the Oklahoma State Cowgirls have swept their third straight Big 12 opponent. They're 11-1. Kenny Gajewski joins us now. And, Coach, boy, I tell you what, you guys are running through this conference in a really good way. It's obviously setting up some big series, but right now you guys are doing exactly what you need to do.
Yeah, I'm really excited about the way our kids have responded to that opening conference Friday night loss to Kansas. And, I can look back at that. There was not much I had to say. I think we're at a point in our program now where we're playing to our standard, and that's who we're playing against. And when you're playing like that and you're feeling like that, it's really cool to watch, and I'm thrilled about the way these kids have played.
Let's talk about game one against Baylor. Coach, you guys get a 4-0 win. And it was one of those games that I felt like, we knew Baylor's, they're getting healthier now. They're getting some kids back from COVID. We knew they would be competitive. But you guys were very workmanlike. Carrie Eberly just went out there and did what she did. You scratch out a few runs, you just walk away a winner.
Well, when Carrie goes out there, you feel pretty good no matter what. And no matter who you're playing against and no matter what it is, she goes out there and she does her deal. And we scored some runs. We hit some balls really, really hard and played very, very well. We probably could have scored a bunch more runs if we had just a couple more hits. I think we left 11 runners on base, which is a lot. I knew we were in a good spot, and that propelled us into that next game with Kelly. And she goes out there and does her deal, and then we start to really hit and scored some more runs, and it's just what good teams do.
Well, yeah, because Kelly gets the next start and again does what she does, and as you mentioned, she goes out there, she gets some good innings. You guys get some power behind her. You win it 5-1. Now you made a change in the 7th. You went to Logan Simonek, and obviously you have great faith in Logan. But I was curious if that wasn't maybe because of a blister or on Kelly Maxwell's hand, because she was still pitching really well.
Yeah, it was partially that. Kelly gets basically she blisters from the seam of the softball, and it was bleeding pretty good, and she's figured out a way to super glue that, and it's kind of an interesting process to watch. And she wanted to finish that game, but we also know that in the grand scheme of things, Logan needs to pitch. And those two kids right now are eating up a lot of our innings, and Logan needed to get work. She wasn't sharp, got out of it. Very happy about that, but we feel good about all three of those kids.
And then Eberly back on Sunday, Coach. She didn't early on didn't look quite as she did in game one. Now you got to remember it was 24 hours, not 2 days before, because if it was a doubleheader, she pitched on Saturday, then on Sunday. But she just has the grit and the ability to finish it, hang in there, and then your offense really helped her out.
Yeah, Carrie didn't throw as well as she's capable of. Wasn't quite as sharp. We can have all kinds of excuses. She doesn't want them. She wasn't very happy with her performance one bit. But I was a little worried about our team sleepwalking through that Sunday game, to be very honest. And those 2 runs that she gave up kind of woke us up, kind of irritated that offense just enough to get going, and she gives up 2. We roll a 6. It was really cool to see. I watched the replay of that, and I was like, wow, that's what this team is really all about. We can score runs. We can score runs in a hurry, and we continue to score runs throughout that game, and it was really good. It was good to see Carrie struggle and us to score runs and us win. That's what it's all about. And like I told her, this is what postseason is going to be about, and we haven't thrown her back-to-back days yet like that. So it's good. It's that time of year where that's going to start to happen more. And it was a good learning experience for all of us.
Well, and so now, Coach, you guys don't well, first of all, let me ask this. You look after the weekend, everything starts to settle out. You look at Oklahoma, yourself, you guys are right there. Texas falls back. Baylor, both those teams were undefeated prior to the weekend. They both suffered 3 losses. So now you start looking at it, and you can't get ahead of yourself here, but you've got 2 very exciting Big 12 series getting ready to happen here in a couple of weeks.
Well, the coach talk answer is they're all exciting. They're all important. We have a midweek game this week we need to take care of. We're going to have the weekend off. We're going to give our kids some time off. And I'll be very honest, I will find out next week how good this team is, because how they handle this break will really determine how we handle the rest of our year. And if they're pros and they take care of their time off right, have some fun, but also stay in tune with what's going on in the softball world. We'll find out how good this team is, and it's what I love. This is the challenges that not many people think about. A lot of us are thinking about Texas and OU, and I'm thinking about the weekend off. And I hope they are too. And so that's going to be my message to them. Take care of your business. We'll get to those games when they come, but there's a lot of time before that happens.
Cowgirls will go on the road next week to Tulsa on Tuesday, at Wichita State on Wednesday, then get ready for Texas and that final series with Oklahoma. So only 8 left in the regular season once we get to the weekend. Coach, congratulations on, again, a terrific weekend against Baylor. Best of luck through the off week and how we come out on the other side of that.
Thank you.
That's going to do it for us. We want to say thanks again to all the coaches. First off, though, congratulations to Greg Robertson's team winning a Big 12 championship. Best of luck to Alan Bratton's team. They'll go to the Prairie Dunes up in Hutchinson for their Big 12 tournament coming up this week. Thanks to Colin Carmichael. Thanks to Kitty Gajewski. And thanks to Josh Holliday for being here. Appreciate you guys being here as well. See you next time on the OSU Roundup.